So I'm back. I'm thinking I'm back. It's been a while. It's been a bit of a time gap since my last video, and I can understand the confusion. You're wondering who is this guy? Um, it's prime time. I think prime time for me to return with the new pre-order trailer for Death Stranding 2. You know, I'm it's one of my favorite games. Like it's actually the first game that I platinumed all the way back in 2019. And I'm a big Kojima fan, even though I've never played a Metal Gear game. I should probably not admit that, but here we are. If you don't know me, my name is Ryan Epps. I actually write for Tom's Guide, covering TV and audio primarily. Um, and as I said, I play video games well. I used to make videos all the time. I made a pretty good Armored Core review, I like to think. Didn't get that many views, but I really want to return in style, return in force, and bring some really cool concepts to the fold. I have a lot of ideas. I definitely want to make a video, and I've been sitting on it for a while now. Is kind of a preview, as it were, for Night Rain. Just my big thing is I don't have footage, and at least Vadi Video was kind enough to let me use his footage. So we'll see where that goes. Maybe I'll make a video on Night Rain, kind of like a my thoughts type of thing. And I've been playing Elden Ring with a friend of mine pretty recently, so there's a bit of nice balance there. But anyway, we're here for Death Stranding, so let's get into that, right? I'm gonna try and make a video here where I discuss or I watch. Let's stop for a second. I'm gonna call this more of a deep dive or analysis of the trailer as opposed to a proper reaction, because I've watched this trailer maybe I don't know, 20 times, maybe probably more than that at this point. But yeah, anyway, without further ado, let's dive into the new Death Stranding 2 trailer and see what kind of theories it presents. Don't mind how I look, please. I look like a bum right now, but I gotta fly out to Atlanta for a surprise video game thing that I'm not gonna say. I'm not allowed to say. So, yeah, we'll talk about that very soon. I promise. Anyway, let's take a look at what this new trailer has for us. How's that look? Do I look pretty good? I could probably push this in a little more. Yeah, looks all right. I'll put this in full screen actually, and we'll get into it. After this cut, because I need to take a meeting here in about 8 minutes. All right, I think we're ready. I'm back after my meeting, which was pretty insightful, I gotta say. It was a meeting about the games industry. Anyway, it's about like market information, but I might make a video about that anyway. Anyway, let's get into this trailer. I actually am pretty hyped. Like I said, I got to fly out to Atlanta in about 4 hours, so this will be cutting it pretty close, So let's do this.
You, sir, are an unrepentant criminal, guilty of illegally entering our country on multiple occasions.
The only thing that I'm guilty of is doing your dirty work.
And by way of compensation, we have overlooked your crimes.
Bring it on, because I'm not doing this shit anymore.
What makes you think you have a choice?
First of all, oh wow, of course I missed this. Great, that's so sick. This guy, we don't know who this guy is, right? Like, we don't have any clue. I don't think he was in the first game from what I can remember. I'm assuming he's a U.S. government official. Maybe he works for the CIA. Maybe he works for Bridges, right? The company that we'll see in a few seconds. Kind of comes up a lot, right? Bridges, we all know it. It's unsure. And my thing is, I think this character, Neil, I'm pretty sure is from Mexico, judging by the dialogue here about the fact that, you keep coming into our country, which must be the United States. That's the other thing. We don't really know when these scenes take place. If this is before the Death Stranding or following it. A lot of people are speculating that Neil might have been the one that started it all. But yeah.
Choice!
What kind of cargo?
Cargo like brain dead, pregnant women.
No one would possibly allow that.
That's why I have to smuggle them in. They make me bring them over from Mexico.
That is the second time Mexico has been referenced across the Death Stranding 2 trailers. The first time we heard of Mexico was actually in the Tokyo Game Show / State of Play trailer that I think it was aired a couple months ago. I forget when exactly, but my thing is maybe Mexico is the starting area for this game, kind of like how the Eastern region was the starting area for the first game. It's kind of my idea so far, and I don't, I'm hoping that it's not solely Mexico that we are playing Death Stranding 2 again in. I have a feeling that Mexico is just a start, right? Because we understand, right, the plate gates that are a big mechanic, as it were, in this game. They keep mentioning these plate gates, which connect continents. So, yeah, maybe we're not sure. Is it the main focus? Is Mexico the main focus? We obviously see Neil later on in a pretty striking pose in kind of a Mexican environment with like the church behind him, the candles around him. That's what I'm going with. I think Mexico is just kind of the starting area. But yeah, maybe it's the prime area. When we see some scenes with jungles. Anyway.
This thing between us. It was a mistake.
No, it was not a mistake. It was not a mistake.
So we don't know if they're discussing, right, the mistake is a relationship between them, or if it's something that they were working on for Bridges. I think we can kind of deduce the fact that it was a relationship between the two. I think a lot of people are leaning towards this fact that Lucy is Sam's ex-wife or, partner, as it were, before the Death Stranding occurred. And the picture, one of the first scenes in Death Stranding, you see a picture that's blotted out with her face on it. And a lot of people are saying that, maybe Lucy had an affair with Neil. Maybe there's something there. And maybe even Lou could be, the biological son of Neil himself. Neil might be his biological father. We don't know. And that's the thing. A lot of people are hinging on the fact that Neil is either, a younger Cliff Unger, which doesn't really fit in my mind, or, there's that aspect of the biological father thing. There's a lot going on clearly here. There's a lot going on, right? There's some, like I said, there's some theories floating around that Lucy could be Sam's former wife and had an affair with Neil. It's actually interesting the fact that Lucy, the character, or the real world actors here, are actually married. So that's cool. That's kind of cool in my mind. But anyway, I'll continue. I keep missing it, just barely. This shot, there's so many awesome shots in this game, in this trailer, I should say. But this shot in particular had me kind of going crazy. Like, where is this? Is this Mexico? Is this Texas? Is this like southern Texas? Are we just kind of crossing the border into Mexico? It's hard to say. We see this Citadel in the background, right? There's a Citadel back there, and you see the strings, the upside down rainbow here. Yeah, you see a bridge. Clearly, there's still like bridges going on, right? There's still fabrications being made, right? The title card after this, which I guess I should have just kept going, right? Says 11 months after the birth of the UCA. You know, that's pretty awesome to assume then that, like, it's been 11 months since, I guess, the ending of the last game, technically. Yeah, there's a lot there, I think. There's a lot baked in there, right? This might be where, like that scene right there, there might be where we pick up the game. That might be exactly where the player starts the game with Sam and Lou in tow. But it'd be pretty kind of, like, it'd be kind of cool, and it would be very Kojima to do that, to show us the very beginning, I think. Makes sense, right? Don't want to show too much of the game, but I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think that area was? Pretty hyped. Like, I'm pretty hyped to see that Citadel, that place. Like, yeah. It's another one. I don't really know, like, what's going on here with the servers. It's interesting that Death Stranding 2 is called Death Stranding 2 on the beach. So I wonder if that has anything to do with these servers. I will pull this up. This was kind of interesting that someone showed this on Twitter, that these were, these were connection machine supercomputers. Just kind of fascinating, right? Like, Kojima, man, he's got an eye for this thing. That's funny. Jurassic Park. He's got an eye for this thing. Like, he knows the thing with Kojima, man. He knows his technology, his future technology. He knows how to, like, integrate it. And obviously, with Metal Gear Solid, like, we get so much of that with Metal Gear Solid. It's gonna be fascinating to see how he does it in this sci-fi setting, right? It's like prime time, prime world to kind of mess with, like, weird technologies, and it shows in the first game. And I'm really curious how that'll show in this game. So, despite the fact, and I'm sorry I keep pausing, I'm gonna be doing that all video. If you don't like it, you can leave. It's just kind of what the video is about, me stopping and, like, looking at things. But anyway, despite the fact that all the deliveries are automated now, we're still delivering, clearly, right? Like, Sam is still a porter, and we're still doing things in the game that kind of have that modus operandi. We see it later on. I'll show you a scene, and I'll bring it up, that you're still connecting. You're still connecting the worlds together. You're still using the necklace, you know, the cupids to connect the world. So, you know, my question is, like, if this is a thing, what's the point of Sam doing things? Like, maybe this goes down somehow. Maybe there's something to do with the servers. I don't know. Right. My question too is, should we have connected? That's a big theme of this game. Should we have connected? It's I think it goes a lot hand in hand with why we're back in this world. You know, we see it later in the trailer and in other trailers, but Fragile does note in that State of Play trailer that I mentioned earlier that, you know, connection isn't really the plan this go around. She says specifically the UCA isn't looking to expand its borders, which I think is an interesting tidbit. In fact, I will play that for you because I think it's a really interesting tidbit. Let's put this in theater mode.
The problem is, not everybody wants to be part of the UCA.
That's not the plan, Sam. The UCA isn't looking to expand its borders. Just like with Mexico, they want to bring new regions into the network. Anyway, the DHV Magellan's here to back you up.
Cool. So yeah, I wanted to bring that up. It's kind of interesting. So these plate gates are another interesting facet to the game. I think they serve a function similar to, like, in the first game with the fragile jumps, right? Maybe this is a way of getting around, though I don't know how that will take effect. Maybe they'll serve a function like the fragile jumps, but to particular regions of the map, right? So, you know, I don't know if South Africa will show up, but, you know, we'll go from Mexico to South Africa, let's say, right? Or Japan even, right? That'd be pretty cool to see, like, what happened to Japan. I'm not well versed in my Death Stranding lore to know if there already is, you know, knowledge of, like, these areas, right? We don't really, as far as I know what happened to other parts of the world. I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments that I'm an idiot and tell me that, but I would like to know more, and I probably should dig into it more and research more about the rest of the world in the world of Death Stranding. Man, my words are so jumbled up, huh? So going back to that in the state of play trailer, right, that I just showed, Fragile notes to Sam as he's stepping off the Magellan, like I just showed, that he must access the Mexico side plate gate terminal, which is also the first reference we get to Mexico. Makes me curious if we'll go elsewhere across the world, right? As I said, like maybe we'll go to Canada. You know, there's scenes where we see, there's scenes where it feels like we're in Alaska because of the aurora borealis that we see in the sky, right? Maybe we go like up north, like places like that. In fact, I will play that for you because I think it's kind of important to get a grip of that. I think this is it.
Plate gate terminal.
Yeah, oh, wow, I just missed it.
You'll first need to access the Mexico side plate gate terminal. After we've confirmed network coverage, we can take the DHV Magellan and regroup at your position.
So, yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Clearly, so, and this is also brought up later. I will bring it up later on, but when I kind of go over the Magellan. But, yeah, the Magellan serves as kind of a base of operations. Well, I'll get into it later. How about that? Okay, so I'll get into that right now because I was like, wait, why am I doing this now? So the Magellan acts as a submarine, right? Like they mentioned that in a I think the same state of play trailer I keep showing. In a different part of that, they mentioned that it's kind of a submarine. Obviously, right? It goes through the tar, but it looks like a spaceship. You know, it gives off the spaceship vibes. In the interview at South by Southwest after they showed this particular trailer, Kojima said something along the lines of like, when you connect, I'm assuming when you connect, right, the Cupids, when you use the Cupids and connect the area, when you connect, you can summon the Magellan. So it's kind of similar to the first game when you connected different parts of the regions. You would start to actually see other people's, like, you know, buildings and stuff like that. I think it's kind of similar in that, like, once you connect, you can finally bring up the ship and stuff, which is, again, another interesting aspect. You're still connecting. Despite the fact that this whole theme of should we have connected, we should not have connected type thing is going on, which I think is interesting. You know, the Chiral network is pretty important, I think, to the first game. How important is it to this game? You know, I don't know. But it seems pretty important. And my thing is maybe, my theory, I should say, is maybe there's something more to it. Maybe there's, you know, maybe there's something like going on with the Chiral network. Maybe there's a virus. Again, I'll get into it later, but I thought I'd bring that up now. A quick tease of it. Yeah. Did I write anything else? He could mean the Chiral network, or he could mean, yeah, so the plate gates. So connection, right? Like Kojima had said, when you connect, you can summon the Magellan. My question was, is it connecting the plate gates? Is it connecting the Chiral network? I think it's the latter, but we'll have to wait and see. Oh, I'm sorry. Perfect place for me to stop. In fact, I'll even drop my camera because this is just an amazing shot, right? This is just a beautiful shot. But I'm thinking the Magellan will serve as like a roving hub, right? Like just like how, you know, for our Dark Souls 2 fans, you know, kind of like Majula or, you know, the Round Table Hold for Elden Ring fans, you know. In fact, I think it's better for like, you know, Metal Gear Solid fans. You can think of Mother Base. I think that's kind of what the vibe is here with the Magellan. Kojima also said that things will happen on the ship, right? Like various story beats will happen on the ship, which I think could be missed, right? Like it'll probably go into the trophies for this. Like maybe you miss a part of that even might have effect on the story, right? You might miss a part of the dialogue, this and that. Who knows, right? It's like kind of an interesting thing to grasp, right? How much of the story will take place on the Magellan and how much we might miss if we don't stay there too much, right? Yeah, I just couldn't let this scene go. I actually had a bit of some dialogue here I wanted to mention, but I mean, look at this. Look at this. Like, what the hell? Like this shot really gets me excited. Gets me going for you know, like someone said on a Reddit comment, my snake is solid. My snake is solid here. Jesus. Woo! This shot is beautiful. Anyway, the visuals in this game are going to be phenomenal. But on a real note, this could be the cocoon shell. There's like a cocoon shell-like thing that Fragile and Tarman rip open, in that state of play trailer. In fact, I'll show it to you. Can I get like a shot here? So this part, right? In fact, I'll bring my camera back up. So see this like shell? I mean, it kind of looks, now that like I'm zoomed in more, this looks more like a human. There's hair here. It looks more like a person. So maybe that's Dead Man. Maybe that's even when we first find Tarman, right? It could be Tarman, in fact. I think that might be when we pick up Tarman, now that I think about it, because it kind of looks like him, like his outfit and stuff. It's something to think about. It's an interesting thing, right? It could even be like, so the cocoon might be Neil in there, might be Tomorrow. Who knows? You know, it might be Eli Fanning, I should say, Tomorrow. It's going to be annoying trying to get that across, right? Anyway, let's continue. Let's continue. I don't have a lot of time. Yeah, so this is another one that I wanted to stop on, kind of speculate here. Wonder why they're kneeling towards Sam. I'm assuming this might have to do something with Amelie, right? Like the whole Amelie-Sam thing going on in the first game. Might have something to do with that. And the faction, like what's going on with this faction? We know basically nothing about it. I mean, other than like, I think we have kind of an idea of the fact that, oh my God, Troy Baker's character, why am I blanking here? Troy Baker's character might be involved with them. You know, it's hard to say. I mean, there's a point later on in this trailer where Higgs, God, it just came to me. There's a point in this trailer later on when we see a like zoom in of a face. You know, I'll wait till it shows up and I'll point it out. But yeah, we get a close up of like one of their faces, and it kind of looks like just nutty. Like, I'm really curious what's going on with this faction. I mean, you can see like this thing, the kind of little cocoon things on the back, which is similar to what Higgs kind of is in, which we see later on. Yeah, it's fascinating, right? We don't really know, as far as I know. I mean, tell me in the comments if you know what the faction's called, because I mean, maybe they're just separatists, maybe they're terrorists or whatever. Maybe they're the Homo demons left over from the first game, right after Higgs was left on the beach. It's also kind of interesting to me that the faction here, right? They say the faction, a mysterious faction spreads. I thought that was kind of fascinating because Kojima did mention that a lot of the story was rewritten after the events of, the Pandy, the big old Pandy. I wonder if that has something to do with it, right? Like a literal virus, a mind virus that they're trying to say, right? A mind virus is being spread like wildfire in this game. It's really fascinating, really curious how it's going to, be approached. It's also interesting that Kojima mentions, again, this new tagline of "we should not have connected." Should we have connected? These questions, right? These questions of should we have connected, and should we have connected in this way, right? When he was asked at South by Southwest, Kojima said that he wanted to make the sequel a 180 degrees different approach. He wanted to take a 180 degree different approach, which I thought was kind of interesting the way he said it, right? And one of the other things that he also mentioned was the fact that emotions, right? Emotions surrounding the pandemic, right? Emotions surrounding that time, that era, really take hold in this game, are a big part of the themes in this game, right? And I'm assuming that means, right, isolation. I think isolation is a big, obviously it's a big proponent of the first game, and you see it in the trailer, right? Like Sam even asks the question, "Am I alone?" Right? And clearly not. And I think that's kind of the whole point of this game. From looking from the outside in, right? Kojima also essentially said the answer to that question, right? That question of should we have connected is a major spoiler. So yeah, I mean, what do you think? I'm actually curious because, like, I wonder if the faction, right? This faction that I keep bringing up, I wonder if it mirrors like non-believers or even anti-vaxxers from that era of the Pandy in a way, like the people the non-maskers, the anti-vaxxers type people, like. I'm curious if that's kind of like what he was going with that. Or perhaps maybe, going back to the servers on the beach, maybe the chiral network has some sort of virus or is infected in some way, or is infecting people. Interesting. I don't know. That scene in particular, also I wanted to bring up, is pretty And I feel like not a lot of people like stop on this. Well, I saw a few people take a screenshot of this. It's pretty good, but it's visually striking. Another one that's visually striking. You know, in my mind, it looks like it could be happening right at the exterior of a compound, or one of the bases. Like maybe this is like this could be like the first boss fight. This could be like the first boss fight. Is my thing. Is my thinking. Jeez, I can't talk right now. Yeah, like man, this looks sane. Like, a lot of people are just like, you know, they see all these other visuals in the game, like, you know, obviously the moon or the big nebula or the explosion in the sky. This one really got me. This gets me. Like, what are we seeing here? What are we seeing here? So this part reminds me a lot of when you die in the first game. You know, you'd have to like swim back into Sam's face, his body, and like regain consciousness that way. But I don't think this is what's going on here. I think this is a bit more physical. This is like a physical world. Sam, it's hard to see Sam in this. Like, it's hard to see like what he looks like. Like if he's like kind of what was it like grayscale? He's got like the grayscale type thing going on, right? Like he looks like blue, like the blue effect that you see in some parts of the game. Yeah, I really want to know what's going on here, because this is another one where it's like, you know, maybe this is like, my theory is maybe this is when we traverse plate gates of some kind, or maybe something else entirely. I think there's another part in the trailer where it could be traversing a plate gate, so I don't know. The final journey. That one got me, right? It's kind of put tears in my eyes, because does that mean this is the last game in the Death Stranding series? I mean, maybe. It might be the last game in the Death Stranding series. I think it's kind of pointing to that. And at least in the fact that, like, maybe it's the last game involving Sam, you know, and all the characters we already know from this, right? One of the main reasons for Kojima's falling out with Konami, if we're going to jump on that real quick, you know, it kind of fell to this constant need to make Metal Gear games. It's no secret that Kojima, he was kind of over Metal Gear after almost the first one, I believe. Maybe even the second one, right? He wanted to do, I mean, look at Miyazaki at From Software. He stopped Dark Souls at Dark Souls 3, despite the fact of its commercial success, in a way, right? He stopped there and he said, I want to create more original content, keep creating original content, as opposed to, you know, building off of this one series constantly, right? Your interests, your peak, you're not going to reach your peak in terms of creativity if you don't stretch out of your bounds. As a creative, I can tell you that. Like, you're not going to be able to reach new heights if you don't try something new. And I think this is kind of Kojima's way of saying that, of saying, you know, I don't want to just stick with this one series, even though this is kind of like what I love to do. I want to do more fascinating things other than this, right? Look at Physent. He's making Physent. He's making OD. He's making all these other games that are kind of out of this wheelhouse, right? Like OD is kind of a horror game, or something else entirely. We don't even really know, like a horror experience, as it were. And Physent is like more of like a Metal Gear spy thriller. So yeah, curious.
Roads that we are yet to pave, the dreams that stillness entertain.
I also saw. I'm sorry. I wanted to stop and say I'm convinced that this will be Kojima's magnum opus, at least maybe until the next game. But this game seems like his magnum opus, right? Yeah.
Now if my love for you won't make you stay, I don't know what will. You will never leave it.
So this is another part that I was mentioning, like the forest of Mexico. Like, this is probably in Mexico, or maybe even somewhere else entirely in the world. Definitely South American, right? It feels South American in nature. Yeah, no pun intended. But I also wanted to say it's kind of unfortunate we're not going to get much of Low Roar in this. You know, it's not going to be the same. And I say that very, you know, I want to be careful how I say that, because clearly, you know, Woodkid is going to kill this soundtrack too. Like, don't get me wrong, Woodkid, this song in particular, will move you to tears, just like Low Roar songs will when playing in the first game. So I think, you know, it's just got a different vibe. It's going to have a different vibe. And Woodkid is nailing it. Woodkid is so far nailing it. It's going to be unfortunate. We won't get much low roar, but, you know, they announced that you know, concert that's going to be playing around the world. That's going to be hype. I can't wait for that. It's going to be really exciting to see that. Definitely we'll try and get to that. But, yeah.
Trace where you walk. If the only path you take's the one you're told, so walk away, I'll find you so far away.
Sorry. All right. Song's so fucking beautiful. But I wanted to stop here and say how environmental destruction will be take a more pivotal role in this. You know, in the first game, you had like to worry about timefall rain and the degradation of your different fabrication equipment and things on your back. But it seems like, you know, you have like lightning storms and fire and floods and stuff. I mean, in another trailer, you can see one of the bridges that someone builds gets destroyed. Wow, I actually pulled it up pretty much perfectly. That was pretty awesome. Watch this.
Helped
Like,
it be reborn as the UCA.
same thing, flooded, boom.
But I'm
bridge
afraid
gone. Like, whoa, like I think so. A big part of this will be environmental destruction. You know, it's not just timefall rain that we have to worry about. And I think even later on, there's a part in this trailer that mentions or shows a part of the map that is in constant timefall rain. I'll bring it up when I see it, but you know, things like that are going to be really interesting. How this how players will adapt and different technologies, right? Different fabrication equipment will have to combat these things, right? Yeah, it's gonna be cool. So this part I wanted to stop at. Looks like we have a whole new form of vehicle, right? We're gonna have a ton of new vehicles and stuff. So this is, and you can see the Magellan in the background. You can see a distribution center here. Not sure what that is. Probably someone's built something there. Yeah, my thing is like, you know, how useful will this be beyond just getting through tar pits like this, right? Clearly this is made for tar, clearly, right, with the little like flappers here, the flapping things. But I'm curious how the new vehicles will interact with this world. I'm really fascinated by that. I mean, even later, right? We see the bike chase scene, like with like bikes with guns on them. Like what? Fuck that. So a couple things to notice here are the fact that like we have Don Lee, old Don Lee. His real name is, you know, Lee Dong-suk, from Train to Busan. Train to Busan is great. But also I wanted to point out the fact that, yeah, the Cairo network is still a thing. You know, you're still using the Cupids to connect the Cairo network, at least for this scene. We don't know if that actually is the Cairo network. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's someone else entirely. But it's what it looks like. It's what it looks like. You know, it's pretty cool. I also wonder, like, what other... given Don Lee's presence here, and it's kind of funny given that Kojima edited this, that he chose this of all things. But I really want to see who the other preppers are, who will show up. I mean, we had Junji Ito, Jeff Keighley, Conan O'Brien was in the last game. Who's going to be in this one, right? Who's going to be in this one? It's going to be pretty cool to see who pops up and who's a big surprise, right? Who's a big surprise this go around. I'm hoping we get maybe some more film directors, maybe even like, you know, I don't know, maybe some real surprises. You know, with Kojima, you just don't know. I'm trying to like come up with trying to like speculate here, but who knows? You know, it's Kojima. Maybe I show up.
I couldn't protect Lou. I tried to jump us out of there. But I could only take my equipment with me. And I couldn't possibly think of Lou like that. There was no way for the two of us to escape together. The best I could hope for was to jump Lou out. Just Lou.
So this is the second time we've seen this scene, right? The first time we saw it was in the Game Awards trailer that was shown all the way back in 2022. We also get a bit more context. We get extra context with Fragile, right? Explaining the fact that she couldn't jump with Lou. Thinking of him as equipment was just, inconceivable to her, right? So she tried to jump him himself. And we don't really get the full context. Did he jump? Did he get the jump? Did he die? Did this guy shoot him? And that's the other thing. Who shoots him, right? Assuming, of course, right, Fragile doesn't get him out in time. Who's this guy? And it's clearly a part of that faction that we keep bringing up. And maybe it's associated with Higgs, maybe not. We don't know. And that's, I'm genuinely curious about that. Like, who and why is Lou being targeted in this scene? And yeah, like, do we need more? Do we need to know more of that? Like, is it? Yeah. Let me show you this. This is the rest of that scene. At least that was shown off in that trailer that I keep mentioning. Interesting. That's the other question, right? Like, is Lou dead? Is Lou dead? And is this some sort of strange spiritual embodiment of him that's reemerged in the cocoon, in the BB pod? Is this, what is this, like the BB version of Lou inside of a BB pod, right? Or BT beached thing version of Lou inside of a BB pod? Bridge baby pod? Jeez. What world are we in? Anyway, I don't know, right? Like, I'll bring it up again. Like, that is, and it's a striking visual. You also get the angel wings, right? We see it from the Magellan Man later in the trailer. Yeah, like, fascinating. Anyway, fascinating. So Kojima, right? So Kojima. Let's continue. I wanted to stop here real quick. I think, as mentioned earlier, I think this is what it looks like when you travel those plate gates. Sorry, had a blank there. Pretty sure this is what it looks like when you traverse those plate gates, which is kind of cool. I think it's really fascinating visual aspect to it.
To all the walls that we are meant to break, the part of us that still remains untamed. We must be more than animals in chains. It's a poison that kills. Would you let the wind tell you where to go? If you can brave fate and prove it wrong.
I mean, that song is just beautiful, man. Woodkid killed it. Anyway, so one thing that the trailer does show in incredible fashion, right? And it kind of puts those people to shame. They're like, oh, UPS simulator, walking sim, like whatever. Like, look at this. You're telling me this is just a shipping like simulator? Like, you're just like UPS guy? No, look at this. Like, and another thing I wanted to mention, right? The fight sequences just look absolutely incredible in this. They just look beautiful. Like, I wouldn't doubt if Kojima did a lot of to show action a lot in this trailer, just to push back on that thought. Like, oh yeah, here's your walking simulator, right? Like I said, Kojima edited this. Like, he's clearly like showing us, like, yeah, get fucked, But anyway, one thing I also wanted to mention, like in that interview later on with Norman Reedus and Kojima and them, when asked, Norman Reedus also mentioned that you're gonna get the same rich story that you got in the first game, except there's gonna be more action. He literally said it. He said it on the floor. Is Dark Souls 2 or Death Stranding 2 will have a lot more action baked into it. And I thought that was really interesting, right? Like, how will that show up beyond just, you know, crazy new looking BTs, you know, this new faction, right? Like, bike chases, what? Like, bike chases with guns? Can I show that again? Like, what the hell? And that thing, oh, this thing, like, what is oh, and this is what I wanted. So, like, maybe this is like the leader of this faction. This might even be the same scene that everyone kneels, that all these people kneel down to Sam earlier on.
It's a poison that kills.
Look at this.
Would you let the wind tell you where to go?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that has something to do with the faction, right? This is clearly like an automated vehicle that's trying to kill Sam that works for that faction or is built by the faction, as well as this thing. This thing, pretty sure is like from, because it's the same colors, so it's got to be like some form of fabricated equipment that the faction that maybe works for Higgs, maybe doesn't, is making. I don't know.
If you can brave fate and prove it wrong, so walk away, I'll find you. So far away, I'll reach you.
Sorry. What's the city all about? Genuinely curious. What, like, is this BioShock? What are we doing here? See the strings? See the strings here? See the strands? Sorry, strands. And this, we see this later on too. This, this kind of rail. Curious, like maybe this is a completely different location. Not Mexico is what I'm saying. Maybe this is not even Mexico anymore. We see the return of bridges, obviously, right? We see these timefall rain shelters, right? Ton of different places back here. Ton of fabricated. That's a zip line. Look at that, a zip line. Good to see that. This is a safe house, clearly, right? It looks like, from what I can tell, a safe house. Another timefall rain thing back there. God, this looks beautiful, right? It's the shelters. Sorry, the shelters, whatever. Yeah. You know, and at first I thought this was the road. Actually, on my notes I have road, but that's clearly the rail system that we see later on, that we see Sam riding, actually. Curious what that's all about. Like, what's going on with the city? Maybe it's the Citadel that we see earlier in that trailer, like when he was having Sam, when he had Sam in his arms. Yeah, curious, and it makes me also really appreciate Kojima's thought process when it comes to world building. World building in his mind is just incredible, and the different fabrication processes we'll have in the new game are gonna be pretty cool. I mean, maybe like similar to how the roads were built in the first game. Maybe we build this rail out over time. I hope we get that jetpack, man. I really hope we get a little booster like that. And I also wanted to point out again, more action. Even more action. In fact, you can see Sam shoot his helmet off first and then shoot him, right? Actually, we don't even see him shoot him. But maybe that's the way that he brings him down, or kind of puts him to sleep, as it were, in this game, as opposed to killing, because killing, we all know, will cause issues, void out issues. I also wanted to kind of point out the fact that mules aren't the same color. They don't have that orange hue that the faction has, that the Higgs people have. I'm saying Higgs, but I don't know really if they're the same entity. But yeah, these don't look like regular mules. These actually look like military operatives, if you ask me. Are they a part of Higgs' group? Are they a completely different faction? Maybe there's more factions that we just don't even know about yet, you know? Not sure if they're related or not, but pretty good. I wanted to point it out. It's kind of interesting, right? Like they have like the kind of a camo. It's hard to see here, but they have kind of like a camo look to them. And even this isn't orange. This is orange, sure, but this is like kind of more of like a steel color, like a brownish, light brown type of. It's hard to see with the light, but sorry, I wanted to stop there, I think, right? But, this, dude. Oh my god. The zip line goes around. The zip line turns. The zip line turns. What is this? And we have, again, another look at that rail system. It's kind of cool. Don't really know what's going on with that. There's a scene I said later, geez. I said earlier there is a scene where Sam's riding it. It's a very quick scene. Curious about that. Really curious about what's going on there. I'm actually gonna turn these on. It's gonna look a little better. Boom. Okay. So I also wanted to point out this. I kind of got ahead of myself a little bit. Wonder if this. So clearly this is a road that we build, right? We get the little stoppage point here, like where we have to rebuild it. There's right here, boom. That's where you bring the materials. There, you're gonna have to be driving a lot of trucks to bring thousands of materials there, thousands of metal materials. We see the bridges over here, different forms of bridges and timefall shelters. Another bridge. I'm curious. My thing is maybe this is a fully upgraded road. And see, this is even F2. Wonder what that's all about, F2. Because, as I mentioned earlier, I think this area is in constant timefall rain. I think it's just always raining here. And this is the thing, like maybe they have this covering for the final level 3 build of the road when you upgrade it totally to protect you and your the things on your back, the shipping stuff. Yeah, I think and your cargo, right? Beyond just your cargo, your actual vehicle. Your vehicle can degrade too. So I'm curious if that's why this is here, or maybe this is a completely different thing, built over the bridge for something else entirely. I don't know. It looks pretty cool. And like I said, if this place is constantly timefall raining, just imagine deliveries here. It's going to suck. It's gonna suck with your deliveries degrading over time. You're gonna want thousands of these shelters all over the place. Yeah. I think I kind of already went over it, but yeah, this is really cool. We're gonna get really cool toys that new toys in this the second game, like fabrication equipment. And what's this? What's going on here? Is that a strand or is that a light that's shooting up? We can't really see, but there's a ramp or road, or maybe that's the rest of the rail. Maybe there's another form of the rail here. Clearly this is a way of making deliveries easier. So that's my thing, is maybe we build this. Maybe we build this over time. Yeah, curious. What kind of new toys are we going to build in this game? It's going to be really cool. Yeah. I wanted to stop here. I keep stopping like the worst time. I wonder if we're seeing the fabrication process here. Because we just build things and it's just, boom, we get it. But I wonder in this game if it's going to show us the fabrication process, which would be really neat, right? Instead of just a menu, we actually get to, it's involved. It's more involved. It's not just some, silly just word, text on a screen. We see how the fabrication process works and how it builds it. Beyond just what we see in the overworld, we can actually see our vehicles get made. There's that scene. There's that scene of Sam riding the rail that I mentioned. This, I think, is Neil. This is either Neil or Tomorrow from that trailer. Let me pull it up. This is the first time we see it, I think. I think this is the first time we see it. This is a pretty long sequence, so I'm trying to rush through it here. Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know what just happened there. Interesting. Yeah, it's from that trailer state of play announcement. Curious, right? I'm curious if that's Neil, Tomorrow. to stop because I didn't write this in my notes, but people are talking about the fact that she has the same hand on both hands. So I don't know why I said it like that, but yeah, there is a word for this. Let me see if I can pull it up. I didn't, you know, I should have pulled this up before, but I bet I can find this pretty fast. I will cut this in the video. So I was trying to find it. Like, it's coming up as ambidexterity, which isn't quite the case in this. Anyway, that's not really what's going on here, but it's still fascinating. I think, kind of curious. I'm pretty sure, like, I'm like 98.7% sure that's Timothy Chalamet. I think we're all in agreement. I think we're all in agreement that that's Timothy Chalapups in there, right? Like, it's gotta be. It's gotta be. And, you know, does he play a big role in this? Maybe. This is kind of fascinating. I think this is Neil. I think this is a young Neil. This is his father, and they're first seeing a BT for the first time. You also get the doll man here. I don't know if anyone noticed that, but that looks like doll man on his side, on his chest. Curious what that's all about, right? Like, maybe this is Tarman. It could be a young Tarman for all we know. Yeah, it's curious. I mean, clearly this is happening maybe in the U.S., maybe in Mexico. Like, I don't want to, you know, profile someone, but he looks sort of Mexican in this, so that's just my judgment. I'll play the scene again. Yeah, I don't know if it's Neil, but you can see that kind of looks like Dollman. It's or a form of Dollman, right? Like, maybe it's not Dollman exactly, but so Dollman. It's learned in this State of Play trailer that he entered the body of that doll. Maybe this is the person that goes into the Dollman body, right? Like, could be, right? Let me see if I can find that scene real quick. Probably won't be able to find it that fast because that one's a tough one. I don't even know if this is the right trailer for that. Yeah, no, I'm not even about it. The other thing I wanted to mention, like, maybe that's one of the first BTs ever. Maybe that's one of the first BTs that we see, or the world sees in Death Stranding, right? In the world of Death Stranding, I should say. Yeah, we don't really know much about, like, what's going on here, right? Like, I'm genuinely curious if, like, maybe they had some sort of relationship. I'm of the mind that Lucy is involved with Sam in some capacity, right? They just changed actors. I think a lot of people are, like, pushing back on that theory because it doesn't look like her, but it's like a picture with, like, very, you know, it's like impossible to see. Anyway. Yeah. Oh, okay. We got this. I wanted to. So Rainey. We don't know much about Rainey at all, but we do know is that she is pregnant in some scenes of Death Stranding 2. How that will play out, we don't really know, right? There's a scene in that I'm not going to play it, but there's a scene in that State of Play trailer where she's, like, hopeful, right? She remains hopeful about having the child. I wonder if that's going to end badly, right? You know, unlike Mama, right, where it did kind of end poorly for her, I'm wondering if Rainey will have maybe a more positive outlook. I guess we'll see. I don't know. I mean, what the hell? This is sick, right? He's got a, like, robot connected to his cocoon. We also see tomorrow in that State of Play trailer, we see her listening in. There's a scene where she's, like, listening in. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up really fast. There's a very split-second scene where she's, like, kind of listening in on the ship, and they're mentioning stuff like, you know, oh, amino acids. They bring up the fact that, like, amino acids are in the tar. Yeah, so here I got it. So closer to the end of this trailer. So you could see her as like a ghost. You see the strands kind of. And the amino acid part, I will play it.
Kind found in tar. It was filled with a fluid that contained amino acids. One's identical in structure to the kind found in tar.
I'm sorry, there are amino acids in tar?
That's
As
what
in
she's wearing.
proteins?
Of course. How
Same
else did you
dress.
think that chiral creatures could emerge from it? Some have even theorized that the tar is a sort of primordial soup.
I was there. I saw her home. And it was a hellhole.
The strands. And you just heard Sam say, I saw her home. And it's mentioned in that other trailer. It's mentioned earlier in that trailer how she's from the beach, I'd say, right? Or some form of the beach where, you know, how could someone live there? She's from there. Like, I wonder if this is like one of the first sequences where we see her, where we first meet her. Yeah, it's curious. I'm genuinely curious, like, what's the deal with her? Because we also see her later on, like, kind of have some sort of weird relationship with Higgs. And she also kind of looks like an Amelie a little bit, right? Like, she has that Amelie look to her. I wonder if she's like kind of the new Amelie for this game, right? A new form of Amelie for this game. Yeah, I'm curious. Again, she has some clear connection with Higgs in some way. Like, I'll point it out later. But yeah, weird, man, weird. What's that about? What's going on here? Did he sabotage like the bridge's base? Where, like, what's he looking at? What are these? Is this some? I think this is Mexico. It's got to be Mexico. My guess is that this is the Day of the Dead. You know, maybe this is like him sabotaging the drawbridge facility. I don't know. Curious.
I've been alone this whole time.
I wanted to stop and say it's a question, right? He's not really saying it as a fact. He's asking a question. So, thought that was kind of curious, right? Question. It's a question mark.
I've been alone this whole time.
You're wrong. Death can tear us apart. We'll always be connected. We will always be with you, no matter what. You will never, ever be alone.
This time, I'll make a lasting connection with the lady in red. The perfect ending humanity deserves.
For the sake of the future, we must all come together. As a barrier to the bad, and a gateway to the good. All hands, brace for launch.
I think most of the stuff is kind of self-proclaimed. The servers again. My thing is, are they protecting it here? Are they protecting the servers here? Kojima thing I've ever seen in my life. As is this.
A world divided, made whole. With a few sticks for encouragement.
The UCA's precursor, the United States of America, had a prominent gun culture. distinctly American philosophy, and one which would appear to have spread to this continent.
No, that is not Solid Snake. Stop impersonating him.
All right, I had to do it. I had to do it. Dude, who is this guy? Neil thinks he's Metal Gear Solid, bro? What are we doing? So I think a lot of people are calling him Stranded Snake, I think that's kind of what people are calling it now. Stranded Snake, which works, you know. Anyway, I just had to say it. Had to do it. On the real, this is so sick. What a sick way to reference his previous work. Even despite all the, you know, baggage there, he said, fuck it, I'm doing it, and I don't care. In this game, clearly Neil is kind of the Cliff Unger of this game, right? Obviously, I mean, that's just an obvious fact, right? Like, we're going to have flashbacks that Sam has to kind of, you know, take him out, right? Kind of similar to how we had to do with Neil. And I thought it was Cliff in the first game. I thought it was also really cool the way that, I'm going to have to pull it up. I should have had all these pulled up. I thought it was really cool how he looks, even in this trailer, he looks just like Cliff did in that one of the first trailers. Like, see if it's in this one. Which one is it? Is it this one? Yeah, look! Oh, dude. Oh, I forgot how amazing this one was. This is a great trailer. It shows how prepared I am.
Oh, it's so hard to form connections when you can't shake hands. Fortunately, I've got a good connection to the other side.
Another guy pop up. So Metal Gear. I love it. He's bringing out these Metal Gear elements in these scenes in particular. Looks just like Cliff Unger, man. Looks just like Neil. Fire. Doesn't look as good as it does in the new game. I will say
Covered
that.
rolling cable didn't bring an end to Warren's suffering.
Anyway, I wanted to bring that up because damn, does that look good? Whoo, does that look good? And so does this, right? So does this. Look at how better it looks on the PS5. Like I said, I think clearly Neil is the Cliff. There's just no question about it. I think it's just a roadblock that Sam's gonna have to overcome, right? It's also important to note again the heavy themes of Mexico, like the cultural significance of Mexico, right? You get the cathedral in the background. You got the candles here, the lit candles. Let me look at this. Fireworks going off. One bell is on fire. You get the angel. Again, another look of like wings and angels and stuff. Very much like reminiscent of that Catholicism culture, right? Angels and stuff and demons, right? And it's also important to note, right, the skull thing. I think a lot of people are saying it's very much a reference to Skullface from Metal Gear. Again, Metal Gear Solid, sorry. I'm not a big Metal Gear Solid guy, and I'm probably going to play a few ahead of this release, but yeah, I think it's more of a reference to the Day of the Dead, right? Which I'm pretty sure is in Mexico, right? So, yeah, I mean, you get the church in the background, you know, there's just so many, there's dripping. It's dripping with, like, cultural intrigue. Cultural intrigue is all I can say. I mean, again, Day of the Dead, Death Stranding. Maybe that's when it happens. Maybe that's when the Death Stranding, the first event, right? The first the first in-world event that Death Stranding occurs is on the Day of the Dead. I mean, dude, what? Look at this. Again, I'm sure we'll get flashbacks. I'm sure we'll figure it out eventually, but had to stop here and say that because, whoo, boy, this is sick. Not my
American
son's
philosophy, and one which would appear to have spread to this continent. The more we seek to unite the people with metaphorical ropes, the more essential sticks seem to become.
DHV Magellan. Integrate! Everyone, hold on tight.
So we're just doing kaiju battles now? We're just doing kaiju battles in Death Stranding 2, I guess. You know, I cannot freaking wait. I cannot wait to see how this unfolds. Like, what are we talking about here? This looks insane. That looks insane, right? What context, right? What is the context of that? And of course, it's the collector's edition statue. Gonna get that. I'm gonna get it. Got it. Need it. I'm not kidding. This is gonna be Kojima's magnum opus. You know, I cannot wait to see this game come to fruition. Yeah, you know what? Like, this trailer is just like a lot of people have said it. This trailer is just like a movie. A lot of people are like, you know, you wouldn't even get this level of dedication and just creativity even from like a full length Netflix movie. It's just kind of crazy to think about. Like, this guy is just going above and beyond, you know. And I cannot wait. But so that's it. That's really all the trailer had. I'll play it to the end, just for shits and gigs. And you get the pre-order stuff. Pretty cool. And a signed letter from Kojima himself. Like, I forgot about that. Yeah, it's gonna be sick, man. It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be sick. Anyway, you know, with that out of the way, we looked at the trailer for I don't know how, God knows how long. What is this? An hour? Woo, an hour long. I still have several questions. One of them is who specifically is paying for everything? In that trailer that I keep mentioning this trailer, this, what is it, the State of Play trailer, Fragile mentions something, and she says, you know, I don't want it known. She says, and I quote, will I be able to find it? I should have had this ready. I'm sorry. Oh, is it here?
Sam, would you mind if I join you?
Humor him.
Whoops.
His knowledge and experience will probably come in handy down the road.
Yes.
Really, Sam? Your buttocks? What about shotgun?
Come on, I'll help you get your bearings. This is the ship's armory. Here you can check your weapons and put them through.
You see a big shot?
With access to plenty of capital and tech. But we do have a generous patron with access to plenty of capital and tech.
Sounds like a UCA big shot.
Don't ask me. We've never met face to face. They value their privacy.
Seriously?
Who is this guy? What's that about? Ah, man, I need to know. What's that all about? You know, and what's good with that? That's something. I think that's something big. And we don't know anything about that, right? Like, who is this, backer, this UCS backer? That's gonna be, it's gonna be curious. I think it has maybe something to do with the connection whole thing. Like, oh, should we have connected type thing? Maybe it has something to do with that. Yeah, curious about that. What else do I have here? Yeah. So I also wrote down, I'm gonna have to bring it up here. I'll bring it up here, don't mess it up. Okay. So it's really just dialogue at the end of this. In fact, I'll let this play out.
Decision. It was APAC. It wasn't the UCA that made the final decision. It was APAC, a private corporation.
So, APAC, what's that all about? Don't know. I don't know what APAC is. I don't think anyone knows yet. I mean, maybe it's at first I thought it was an automated system, right? But that's something else entirely. That's a different acronym. Yeah, curious. I don't know. APAC, don't know what it is. Curious what that's all about. Another faction. Maybe it's another faction. Yeah, we don't know. And, another question I have is who killed Lou and why? Or even if Lou is dead, right? Like, is Lou dead? Is he is there something else going on there? Like, what happened exactly to Lou? We don't know. You know, judging by the first trailer, you know, it's a bit of a time jump, right? Like I just showed, I just had it pulled up. Why did I let it go? You know, you could see, judging by how Sam looks, you can kind of see there's been a time jump, right? After we see, like that first trailer when he's got Sam in his on his belly, right, with him, and they look out, and I think it's Texas or Mexico or something. Clearly looks different here. Clearly looks like he's aged quite a bit. This is definitely some sort of time jump, right? When she's like, in fact, I'll even play it. This scene is, I saw this live on reveal at the Game Awards in 2022, and think about how long I've been waiting for this, right?
Have to suffer such loss. You know, I meant it when I said I understand how you feel. But if you hold on to the sadness, it'll weigh you down like an anchor.
Come meet my crew, Sam. It's time for you to hit the road and start a new journey.
Bam! You know, and clearly whoever said that, the APAC thing, the private corporation, you know, this stuff.
It wasn't the UC.
That stuff. I'm pretty sure that's Dollman. I'm pretty sure that's the voice of Dollman, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong there, but yeah. What else do I have here? Blah blah blah. It's time jump. Yeah, Lou dies. You know, and that's the other question too. Like, what's going on with Lou? Is Lou a BT in the BB pod? Is there something else? Like, is he something else entirely? What, like, seriously, like, is a BT Lou like, is a BT Lou in the BB pod? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what is good with that? And he does the octopus thing. Like, I don't know why. I mean, that's just very Kojima, I think. It's just not really related necessarily to the story or lore, as it were. But who knows? I mean, yeah, there's clearly a crustacean, like very much a crustacean look in this game, or in Death Stranding. Like, just the vibe of Death Stranding has always been very much fish based, like aquatic based. So we're all like, when we die, we swim to our back to our body. You know, there's just very much references to the ocean, as it were, and beach. You know, on the beach. Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Yeah. What's going on, Blue? I want to know. And you know, Lou is one person. Higgs is another person that's got some crazy freak going on. Freaky, dude. He's doing his freak thing. See if I can pull it up here. What's good with that? With this... He's got the freak, man. He's freaking out. I didn't realize. I thought it was still on show and tell. Freaky. Getting freaky with it. Getting freaky. Yeah. I don't know what's good with that. And clearly, you know, I'll pull it up again. I probably should have kept it up. He's in Amelie's body. You can see his necklace, or her necklace, you know? So he's taking up the body of Amelie. What's good with this gold, like, it's kind of like the tar, but gold. Maybe he met up with Amelie on the beach somehow, and they're working together. That doesn't really make much sense. Also, you can tell maybe he's lost his whole entire body, because it's like mostly just like robotics, it looks like. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of crazy. Looks like he did a rock band. He joined a rock band. He's got a guitar now. Like in that one trailer, you see him using a guitar against the Red Samurai, by the way. Like, whoa. Like, that's another thing. That's just crazy. But I couldn't find the name of that faction. And I really want to know. So if you know the name of the faction, write it down in the comments, please. Because I'm actually curious what's going on there. And like the followers, like I guess they're just like leftover from Homodamians or the separatists, I think they're called, right? The terrorists, whatever you want to call them. Could be that. Could be something else entirely. Like I said, like there's this thing of like, you know, spreading. Like this faction that spreads. I love that. I love that that's the phrase that they use. It's very curious phrasing in my mind. Very curious phrasing. But But yeah, Higgs, man, what's going on with him? What's going on? And I think that's really all I've got. There was a ton of extra info, kind of. I mean, we kind of got, this was like a little old now, but there's some extra. I'll show it. I mean, there's some extra info here on the PlayStation store page. Why you should play Death Stranding 2. I mean, I don't think I need any convincing. Unique and explorable world, exciting and adaptable combat. I love that. I love how like combat is very much a focal point. See, and I said this is why I mentioned the fact that I think the bridge has a upgradable path with like a cover, because you see this doesn't have that cover, but the lights are blue. The lights are blue here, so yeah. Social Strand gameplay, Strand game, baby, Strand, and compelling story. Which I mean, it's Kojima. I don't think you need to say that, right? I don't think you need to say that. And I think that's all I got. That is all I got so far. Maybe there's more. Maybe there's more to unpack. I know one thing about Higgs that I didn't mention, that cradle thing, I don't know what's good with that, right? Maybe that's the only thing that's keeping him alive. Like, it's a little transport thing that's keeping him alive. Yeah, I mean, that's all I got. I mean, we're already, what, hour 15 in here? And I have another meeting soon. So I gotta go. But, yeah, exciting. I cannot wait to see how this plays out. This game is going to be unreal. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I really do. I want to make more. I'm going to make more. Like I said, I got a thing going on in Atlanta. I literally got to fly out at like a couple hours, and I haven't even packed yet. Ooh, fun. That's going to be sick. Yeah. Can't talk about it, but it's going to be cool. Maybe I'll bring that up. In fact, also, another thing is I was in a meeting. The meeting I was in earlier was actually about, data research on the gaming industry, which, fascinating. Some fascinating stuff. I recorded it. They're going to send me a recording as well, but I recorded it as well just because I wanted to do some clicking, because I like to do some clicking during it. Yeah, so I might make a video on that too if I have some time this weekend. So, like I said, I'm 9 to 5, and this is kind of tough to work in, to get the editing and all that, because I do the editing myself and film this. So, anyway, with that, I hope you don't drown out there. Later.